12, I have to keep charging kids points because they want to have food, even though they just ate a giant pile of fruit snacks. Let's see. We took care of book fair wise, if you bring money tomorrow, you can't go during class. It's closed. It closes after third period, so you have until lunch tomorrow. So if you want to go back, bring money, go in the morning during a passing period.
Can you go during lunch?
No. It's after third period is closed. Tomorrow's the last day to fix assessments. You do not need to email me. I am grading them automatically. I will go through tomorrow after school. Any of them that have been redone, I will go back and grade. You will only have through tomorrow to do them and resubmit them. And then you should be good to go. Then down to the last part that's on there. Yesterday, when I was looking at what was coming up this week going into next week, I realized I had a choice to make. The story we're going to get into, Man from the South, is probably the best one we're going to read so far this year. And I had to make a decision yesterday about whether I needed to speed through it to get done in time or go slow and take longer. And I decided to go with going slow to take longer because I wanted to give you guys a chance to enjoy it. The problem with me going slower is now I do not have time to give the quiz tomorrow.
Yes,
so,
go!
I know, you're depressed, I understand.
Quiz tomorrow?
I'm now having to push that to Monday.
Why Monday? Wait, can we push back after break?
Can you at least do Tuesday?
I can't think of
I feel the same way. I also do not like having Monday quizzes because I know how your guys' brains work over the weekend, where you guys become mush and then just cry into a pillow, then show up Monday having no idea what's happening.
Yeah.
That's what worries me. So I was tempted not to tell you until Friday, but I figured I'd give you a heads up. As far as Zoo Story goes, I cannot put it off any later because we finish short stories next week. You have your 100-point test next week.
What?
Friday.
Excuse
So-
me. I thought we just did it.
Question.
So, that means Monday's quiz is your first grade of the new 9 weeks. Whatever you get on this quiz Monday is your second 9 weeks grade for my class. So that's why I did not want you guys to forget about it, why I wanted to do it Friday. Good news is, because it's not Friday, now if you do mess up, you do get a chance to fix it. So that's something. Because originally you were not going to be able to, because it was the end of the 9 weeks. Hi, Viv.
So the 100 points is like on all the short stories?
Uh-huh.
So we can use like all of our stuff?
Oh, I don't remember.
So I can just go back into the quiz and like get the answer.
Deckard.
I don't get the Zoo Story.
Okay.
It's confusing. And what? All the stories that we've read?
Slay.
That's
Okay, so I understand that we end short stories next week, but like, why can't we do it Tuesday? Like, give me like 5 big reasons. Like,
Because we're starting our last story on Tuesday, and we're going to do it Tuesday, Wednesday, back to back.
but like, why don't we do just Wednesday,
Okay.
Thursday?
why does it have to be 100 points? Why can't it be like 50?
Actually, it might be 70
And
points.
25.
I just picked a number.
Five.
I just know it's the biggest grade you have so far.
That's so rude.
Hey, can I go say hi to you?
So far! What if I fail?
How many questions?
Right. So, back to this. As far as your redoing, this is your last way to change your grade for my class right now. Because I do not have quiz coming up tomorrow. If whatever grade you have on Skyward, that's your 9 weeks grade for me. Unless you go back and redo your 9-week assessment. If you redo the 9-week assessment, your grade goes up. Otherwise, in theory, your grade can't go down from whatever it is. Because we have no new grades coming in. So if you are wanting grade to go up, do the 9-week assessment.
Wait, how much does it
Isaac,
I'll look at it.
not right now, but later you can. Viv,
At the end, can you give me a best pass?
talk to me at the end. We'll see then.
Next.
Alright. Then, there we go. We have a few people we get a chance to stand up and get points. My other classes, I've had kids, we've already gone into second round, but we're not quite to second round with you guys. Second round, you get to volunteer to go again. You have another chance to get 5 points. Actually, you can get up to 6 points, but we have to finish everybody in the first round. So home children, we're going to pause for a moment. Go those kids, they got points. And we'll finish out the rest of them tomorrow. We have 2 kids left to go.
Can I go?
Well, one of them's absent, so you couldn't pick her.
Who's absent?
That's not for me to figure out. So,
Kieran.
Tay.
Oh, it's when you lost 5 viewpoints and not getting up.
Not bad. So, our story that we're going to get into with Man from the South, suspense, as she points out, is the part of the story that keeps you wanting to read more. It's supposed to be the thing that makes it really interesting, the thing that makes you think that the story is kind of good in some way. Which part of the mountain does suspense happen in?
Rising action.
Rising action.
And that's where rising action comes in, and that's what keeps people interested. This story that we have, here you go, today has a whole bunch of rising action, where it is the best story I could find that's going to try to keep you on the edge of your seat with what is going to happen next. Hi, Martin.
Why can't? Wouldn't suspense be able to go anywhere except for resolution?
Technically, but usually it's going to happen in mostly rising action. Sure, you can probably have it in some other spots too. I can see that. Hi, what's up, Bill?
Are we taking the class, like, I know, but like, with the whole class, are we gonna do it, the whole class together?
I think so. Presley?
Why can't you like make your own stories? Like, why can't you type your own stories?
Me? I have. You already read one. So let's jump to Man from the South. What's up?
Which one did you write?
I can't tell you that. That takes the fun out of it.
I know it's one.
Me too.
Wait, what happened?
Okay, but can you write like...
Wait, they say it was mine. They say.
Then apparently not.
Wait, what were your other titles?
So, with our story, Man from the South, as we get into it, I created new Brovicast this morning because I was inspired going over it.
Proviart.
First
It's my
period.
favorite thing in the world.
You need to have more favorites. And so as we get into it, to try and help you out from there. As we started, figure out setting, the when and the where, main character, stuff like that, and then we'll get to Brovicast in a moment. Man from this, this story by Roald Dahl, who's not me, as much as that makes Presley unhappy. If you've read Charlie and the Chocolate Factory,
I've never read
Matilda, BFG,
Yeah.
so this guy is well known for writing kids books, and then he also writes adult short stories. His adult short stories are not little kid stories. Like the things that are going to happen in today's stories have things that you cannot do yourself because they're not aimed at kids.
Did you read Lady and the Tiger? Because all the other ones say who it's by, so and it doesn't say that.
I know. I don't use my name when I write. I use my writing name.
Yeah, and that's the only one that doesn't.
He uses his
was
dad's name, right?
No, he's
Did they miss the N?
It's called Roald.
Oh, then it was.
He's
the
Scottish.
voices.
It's a Scottish name.
Really? I don't remember there being a...
He's more famous than Double.
Guys,
It was getting on toward 6 o'clock, so I thought I'd buy myself a Coke and go out and sit in a deck chair by the swimming pool and have a little evening sun. I went to the bar, got the Coke, and carried it outside, and wandered down the garden toward the pool. It was a fine garden with lawns and beds of azaleas, tall coconut palms, and the wind was blowing strongly through the tops of the palm trees, making the leaves hiss and crackle as though they were on fire. I could see the clusters of big brown coconuts hanging down underneath the leaves. Alright, so here's an example question. Setting-wise, when is the story taking place?
Outside. 6 o'clock.
Morning or night?
Night.
Where's your evidence?
6
o'clock.
What's it
Evening
say?
sun.
So that is where he never says 6 o'clock at night. He says 6 and then talks about evening sun. So like those are the kind of thoughts I want you to put through to realize that evening means 6 o'clock, so not 8.
Are we gonna know like the setting and stuff with the hands?
Do you guys know what an azalea is?
It's a type of flower.
Yeah.
It's like purple.
Sure, a type of flower.
Oh,
Those are my favorite flowers now.
Then they talk about coconuts. I'm assuming you know what coconuts are?
Nope.
Coconut nut, like a giant nut, and if you eat too much, you become very fat.
There were plenty of deck chairs around the swimming pool. There were white tables and huge brightly colored umbrellas and sunburned men and women sitting around in swimsuits. In the pool itself, there were 3 or 4 girls and about a dozen boys all splashing about and making a lot of noise. And throwing a large, colorful beach ball at one another. I stood watching them. The girls were English girls from the hotel. The boys, I didn't know about, but they sounded American, and I thought they were probably naval cadets who had come ashore from the U.S. Naval Training Vessel, which had arrived in the harbor that morning. You guys know what naval was referring to?
Yes.
Navy.
Navy is
The Navy.
Air Force SEALs.
Something.
Water or Sea Army or Marine.
Oh, I did not know that.
And what are cadets?
Okay.
A person. Something.
A soldier.
Something.
Learning something.
Someone learning something. So a naval cadet is someone who
Or
has
like a cadet
just
teacher.
joined the Navy.
Like a cadet
Like a
teacher.
cadet teacher. They're learning to be a teacher.
I was actually kind of close. I said something.
And where is the story taking place so far?
At a pool.
And a pool.
So we're going to find out in a moment. It's taking place like at a hotel resort, but for now, we just have it taking place at a pool
That looks so nice. I want to go
hotel
swimming
in the
there.
match.
some guy just sitting and watching the people for now.
Watching children.
It literally said hotel in the caption.
It was very pleasant sitting there in the sunshine with my Coke. It was pleasant to sit and watch the swimmers splashing about in the green water. Green because we're not because it's bad water. We're going to find out in a moment that the water comes from the ocean. They just fill their pool with ocean water. That's why it's
That's smart.
in the green water. The American sailors were getting on nicely with the English girls. They'd reached the stage where they were diving under the water and tipping them up by their legs. Just then I noticed a small, oldish man walking briskly along the edge of the pool. He was immaculately dressed in a white suit. He walked very quickly with little bouncing strides, pushing himself high up onto his toes with each step. He had on a large, creamy Panama hat, and he came bouncing along the side of the pool, looking at the people and the chairs. Well, they talk about him. He's a very energetic man. So he bounces up. I have to put this on camera. But if you've seen or played Super Mario Brothers, where he does like little bounce, the guys who are like walks like doing, like sort of like bounces as he walks along.
Game character.
And if you've seen Colonel Sanders, that's sort of what they're describing him as.
He was bouncing like this.
You guys get so excited about learning. It makes me so happy. Some of you guys just get more excited than others. And so the idea here is that he looks a lot like Colonel Sanders. It sort of bounces as he goes along and walks. They're going to talk about the hat he's wearing, which is they call the Panama hat, looks something like that. And then they're also in a moment, so I don't have to stop again, they're going to talk about these shoes he has. Where they are, they're at a pool, so it's hot outside, which is why your shoes normally have holes in them, so your dogs can breathe. Because if not, you get swamp toe. I don't know if you get weddings, funerals, church, if you have dress shoes on, there's no breathing in them and your feet get hot.
Especially when you're wearing dress.
He's going to find out this guy has taken a knife and stabbed holes all through the top of his shoes so that way his dogs can breathe. So that's what they're going to be talking about. Tay.
The guy in the white suit.
What?
Pictures you had remind me of some guy in Mountain Haircuts.
Oh, I can see that. Mr. The Snow.
Yeah, Mr.
Yeah,
Snow.
I can see that.
I've never seen the Hunger Games.
Did he put the holes in his shoes while his feet were still in or while they were out?
He stopped beside me and smiled, showing 2 rows of very small, uneven teeth, slightly tarnished. I smiled back. "Excuse, please, but may I sit here?" "Certainly. Go ahead." He bobbed around to the back of the chair and inspected it for safety. Then he sat down and crossed his legs. His white buckskin shoes had little holes punched all over them for ventilation. "A fine evening," he said. "They were all evenings fine here in Jamaica." I couldn't tell if the accent were Italian or Spanish, but I felt fairly sure he was some sort of a South American, and old, too. When you saw him close, probably around 68 or 70. So now we know where it's taking place, which is...
Jamaica.
Do you guys... I've been finding out today. Do you know where Jamaica is?
Yes.
My
I have no idea.
South America.
So,
Somewhere. Africa.
America, Florida, the islands right south of that. So Florida, Cuba, Puerto Rico, this is Jamaica.
We're close.
Over here is Africa. Over here is Asia.
You just say
So It's just right below. Vietnam's way over here.
Wait,
Where do
that
people think
little
it
thing is that
I've been hearing a lot of Africa.
something?
Like I said,
You said.
a lot of Africa.
That little thing, we're like
Not close, but like close.
Closer than Africa and Asia, yes.
that little speckle.
See, in Africa and Asia, it takes 5 days. So what do you take less?
No, but on there it's like a.
It's right there.
So
Tay.
just 5. Why do you talk like that when you?
Because that he has an accent. That's what they just said. So I'm trying to make it feel like he has an
Wait,
accent.
you had an
Very
accent?
good.
Wait, when?
Ah, yes, I said. It's wonderful here, isn't it? And who, might I ask, are these? These is no hotel people. He was pointing at the bathers in the pool. I think they're American sailors, I told him. They're Americans who are learning to be sailors. Of course they are Americans. Who else in the world is going to make as much noise as that? You are not American, no? No, I said, I am not. There's from my Brovicast again, and now we have...
Rovior.
Something like
Suddenly, one of the American cadets was standing in front of us. He was dripping wet from the pool, and one of the English girls was standing there with him. "Are these chairs taken?" he said. "No. You mind if I sit down?" "That's fine. Go ahead." "Thanks," he said. He had a towel in his hand. When he sat down, he unrolled it, produced a pack of cigarettes and a lighter. He offered the cigarettes to the girl. She refused, and he offered them to me. I took one. The little man said, "Thank you, no, but I think I have a cigar." He pulled out a crocodile case and got himself a cigar. Then he produced a knife which had a small scissors in it, and he snipped the end of the cigar off. So to pause again, and hopefully without you guys getting all worked up and talking again. The story is going to have a number of things that, again, not appropriate for kids. I know you guys are fond of vaping. But here, they don't use vaping. We're going to find out the story's taking place like way back in the 1950s. Back when young people had used cigarettes. So this is what he's talking about with the cigarettes. And the lighter is going to play a role in a moment. This is the kind of lighter, like a big lighter you guys use for fireworks whenever you guys do that. That's why we have this thing called still reading. Hi, Presley.
Where are we right here? Like what word?
So we are in the third column.
Yeah.
We are?
We're at the top of the third column. But like what word?
Where it says here, let me give you a light.
Oh,
First
found it.
paragraph. Okay. Hi, Lydia.
I think you're gonna light something on fire.
Okay.
And I like to play with fire.
I like to touch the water. I just realized that you're like the kids are like different people working on there.
Like
So I had
what?
to sort of Photoshop it in.
No?
Unlike I do with basketball.
You do Photoshop that.
Here, let me give you a light. The American boy held up his lighter. "That will not work in this wind." "Sure it'll work. It always works." The little man removed his unlighted cigar from his mouth, cocked his head on one side, and looked at the boy. "Always? Yeah, sure. Never fails. Not with me, anyway." The little man's head was still cocked over on one side. He was still watching the boy. Well, so you say this famous lighter, it never fails. Is that you say?" "Sure, yeah, that's right." He was about 19 or 20, with long freckled face and a rather sharp bird-like nose. His chest was not very sunburned. There were freckles there too, and a few wisps of pale reddish hair. He was holding the lighter in his right hand, ready to flip the wheel. "It never fails," he said, smiling now because he was purposely exaggerating his little boast. "I promise you, it never fails." The reason he's bragging about this lighter is because it's not this kind of lighter. He's talking about a type of lighter called a Zippo, which in the 1950s, right after World War II, were really popular. If you are unaware of a Zippo, I forgot crocodile case. You guys distracted me while you're talking, I blame you. When the old man was talking about him smoking and he mentioned a crocodile case, it just means crocodile leather. Like normal leather comes from a moo-moo cow, a crocodile case uses the skin of a snap-snap crocodile. And you don't want your cigar to get broken whenever you're smoking, so you keep it like this little case. This is the Zippo the kids
Those
call.
are
Yeah, my cousin has
To help with story, I went to Walmart and I got one.
Can you light it?
Now careful, this is where you're going to see a lot of your points keep disappearing because apparently we're not good at self-control. Shocker. But yes, I had to go out and get lighter fluid because unlike normal lighters where you can just buy them and use them, Zippos, home children, Zippo, you have to pull open like a little bottom thing and you have to squish in the little lighter fluid, which I did this morning, and then you put it back together, and then to light it, it's got a little boo, and it lights like that. Then with these, the reason the kid's bragging is that it's supposed to not go out easily, like it's supposed to be able to be in the wind, and it stays lit. This is where knowing how fire works is important, because without oxygen, fire goes out. So to put out, you just have to close it, open it again, and then you can relight it. So that's what he's talking about in the story.
Does it go out with water?
Toby.
It smells now. Those blue lighter are supposed to like when you open it, it can light.
Unless you do tricks with it.
Exact same, right?
It's the basic one, so sure. It's the basic one is just
You're allowed to have
silver.
lighters.
Well, I can't bring my cigars, but yes.
Why can't you bring them?
It smells like fire. It smells like light. You like fire?
One moment, please. The hand that held the cigar came up high, palm outward, as though we're stopping traffic. Now, just one moment. He had a curiously soft, toneless voice, and he kept looking at the boy all the time. Shall we not perhaps make a little bet on that? He smiled at the boy. Shall we not make a little bet on whether your lighter lights? Sure, I'll bet, the boy said. Why not? Oh, you like to bet? Sure, and I'll always bet. The man paused and examined his cigar. I must say, I didn't much like the way he was behaving. It seemed like he was already trying to make something out of this, and to embarrass the boy. At the same time, I had the feeling he was relishing a private little secret all his own. He looked up again at the boy and said slowly, I like to bet too. Why we don't have a good bet on this thing? A good big bet. Now, hang on, wait a minute, the boy said. I can't do that. But I'll bet you a dollar, or I don't know, whatever it is over here. Shillings, I guess? The little man waved his hand again. Listen to me. Now, we have some fun. We make a bet. Then we go up to my room here in the hotel, where is no wind, and I bet you cannot light this famous lighter of yours 10 times running without missing once. Pfft, yeah, I'll bet I can, the boy said. All right, good. We make a bet. Yes? Sure, I'll bet you $1. No. I make you very good bet. I am rich man, and I am sporting man also. Listen to me. Outside the hotel is my car. Is very fine car. American car from your country. Cadillac. And I went back and looked up a Cadillac from this time period. So this is the Cadillac that he's talking about. So they're getting ready to bet on the kid lighting the lighter, and they're going to bet a Cadillac. And there we stop so I can get rid of you so the bell can ring.